Nanda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we continue reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 26, Text 61. Oh, we finished 61, so we'll do 62 today. Etehi abhyuthita deva nevasyo thapane saksh ashakkan punar avi vishuhu khani tam uthapaitum kramat. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Shilpa Prabhupada. When the demigods and presiding deities of the various senses were thus manifest, they wanted to wake their origin of appearance. But upon failing to do so, they re-entered the body of the Virat Purush, one after another, in order to wake him. In order to wake the sleeping deity controller within, one has to rechannel the sense activities from concentration on the outside to concentration inside. In the following verses, the sense activities which are required to wake the Virat Purush will be explained very nicely. So the Virat Purush was sleeping and the demigods wanted to wake him up. And so they're entering him to be able to wake him up. Vanir vacha mukhambe je nodatishtat tada virat gra nena nasike vayur nodatishtat tada virat. The god of fire entered his mouth with the organ of speech, but the Virat Purush could not be aroused. Then the god of wind entered his nostrils with the sense of smell, but still the Virat Purush refused to be awakened. So Agni Dev is the deity of the mouth, and Vayu is the deity of the nose, controlling the sense of smell. Akshini Chakshu Shadityo Noda Tishtattada Virat Shrotrena Karano Chadisho Noda Tishtattada Virat. The sun god entered the eyes of the Virat Purush with the sense of sight, but still the Virat Purush did not get up. Similarly, the predominating deities of the directions entered through his ears with the sense of hearing, but still he did not get up. So the sun god is the deity of the eyes and the ears. These are the deity of the dig. What's that called? Dig in Sanskrit. I forget the name. The Dig Purushas. So ears, they help us with the direction. We might understand, this, I don't know if you all have ever experienced vertigo. There are these tiny crystals in the air, in the ear. And if it gets misplaced, oh, you really don't know where you're going. No balance, no direction at all. Yeah, so it's so amazing how Krishna has created everything so perfectly. Like tiny, tiny crystals inside the ear, they help us keep our balance. And if that tiny crystal is moved from its place, no balance. Tvacham Roma Birosha Nota Tishtat Tada Virat Retasa Shishnam Apastu Nota Tishtat Tada Virat. The predominating deities of the skin, herbs, and seasoning plants entered the skin of the Virat Purush with the hair of the body. So the plants that we see, the herbs, seasoning plants, they are the hair on the body of the Virat Purush. But the cosmic being refused to get up. Even then, the god predominating over water entered his organ of regeneration with the faculty of procreation. But the Virat Purush still would not rise. So predominating over water, Varun Dev entered his organ of generation with the faculty of procreation, but he still would not arise. Gudam Rityur Apanena Nota Noda Tishtatada Virat Hastav Indro Baleneva Nota Tishtatada Virat. The god of death entered his anus with the organ of defecation, but the Virat Purush could not be spurred to activity. The god Indra entered the hands with their power of grasping and dropping things, but the Virat Purush could not get up even then. So Lord Indra is controlling the hands. And the god of death, Mitra, god of death, Mitra, stays in the anus of the universal form. Cannot be. So again and again we are being given this information so that we can understand that what we think is automatic. We think, oh, material energy, everything is working automatically. But no, it's not automatically. The Lord is there. It's because of him. Our power to grasp and drop things. We keep on holding things and keep leaving them as if nothing. But here, Indradev is controlling that. So how the Lord's control is there at each and every point, Vishnur Gatyeva Charana Noda Tishtatada Virat Nadi Nadyo Lohitena Noda Tishtatada Virat. Lord Vishnu entered his feet with the faculty of locomotion, but the Virat Purush refused to stand up even then. The rivers entered his blood vessels with the blood and the power of circulation, but still the cosmic being could not make to stir. So even the blood circulation is being controlled by a deity. Even the defecation is controlled. Otherwise, we might think, oh, okay, the deities are there only in the nice places and nobody's there in the not so nice places. No, even everything is controlled.
So Virat Purush is Krishna.
Yeah, it's a universal form of Krishna.
Universal form of Krishna, because he said Lord Vishnu. That's one thing.
Yeah, Lord Vishnu.
So that's the
Lord
expansion.
Krishna. Okay. Yeah. The difference is that this universal form is not eternal. It is not an eternal form. But the universal form is there because everything in the universe is there in the form of Lord. So for many people who cannot understand that how, or that there is God, or there is no God, or that, God has a form, then they can begin worshipping the universal form, so that at least they can get accustomed to the idea that, yes, even though God is unlimited, God still has a form.
Virat Rupa.
Helps us to understand that how God is unlimited. Oh, but he has a form. Yeah. And so and in this way, we can also remember God. Oh, the clouds are God's hair on his head. Oh, the plants that we are seeing, that is his hair on the body. And then we were reading earlier how the big mountains, they are the bones. The ocean is his navel, things like that. So how we can remember God. It helps us with that also. Tridbhyam udaram sindur nota tishtat tada virat hridayam manasa chandro nota noda tishtat tada virat. The ocean entered his abdomen with hunger and thirst, but the cosmic being refused to rise even then. The moon god entered his heart with the mind, but the cosmic being would not be roused. Buddhya Brahma pi hridayam nota tishtat tada virat rudro bhimatya hridayam nota tishtat tada virat. Brahma also entered his heart with intelligence, but even then the cosmic being could not be prevailed upon to get up. Lord Rudra also entered his heart with the ego, but even then the cosmic being did not stir. So, but by reading this again, we are repeatedly being reminded, oh, to walk the legs, we walk, we say, I can get up by myself, but it's being controlled by the Lord. Hearing is controlled by the Lord. Eating is controlled. What else? Seeing is controlled. Smelling is controlled. What else are we reading? Mind, intelligence, ego, everything there is, it's being controlled.
It's been controlled through the demigods. Correct?
Yes, it's being controlled through the demigods. Yes.
So the living entities are not yet there.
The living entity is not yet.
Not yet, right?
Not yet. Yeah, not yet. Yeah. Inside the universe, right? Yeah, they are not yet being given their bodies as yet.
So I think that's why.
First only inside this golden egg, inside this universe, the universal form is there. And the demigods and the senses and the sense organs, they are all there. The sense objects.
So I think that's why. Then maybe the living entities are not there. So that's why it's not.
That's why it's not gotten up as yet. Let's see. I don't know. Let's see. Yeah, let's see. Let's read on. So also then it makes us feel, we think we are independent. I can control my body. I can control. Here, again and again, when we are reading, then we are reminded of, I'm talking also. It's not under my control, It's under superior control. So how independent we are. So then again, one more point to understand, help us realize, I'm not God, because we have this infatuation, this, this misconception that I'm God, so when we read these things, really, oh my God, really, I'm not God, my God.
I'm God, you are God, everyone is God. Yeah, it's not.
Yeah, so that's what it helps us to understand really, why I'm not God, Why? Because we want to be God. That's why we are here in the material world, right? We are thinking we are God. And so when we read this, then again and again, we are reminded, hey, something? You're thinking wrong. Let's read on. Chitina hridayam chaitya kshetragya pravishadyada virata deva purusha salila udatishtata. However, when the inner controller, the deity presiding over consciousness, entered the heart with reason, at that very moment, the cosmic being arose from the causal waters. Now, the inner controller, the deity presiding over consciousness, Chaitya, when consciousness entered the heart with reason, then the Virat Purusha is waking up. Consciousness. Yatha prasuptam purusham pranindriya manodiya prabhavanti vinayena notha pahitum ojasa. When a man is sleeping, all his material assets, namely the vital energy, the senses for recording knowledge, the senses for working, the mind and the intelligence cannot arouse him. He can be aroused only when the super soul helps him. So we think we are able to get up. Then why is it that one day some person does not get up? If getting up was also under our control, then why do we say so-and-so passed away peacefully? So here is because only when the Paramatma allows us to get up can we get up. So even getting up is not in our hands. The explanation of Sankhya philosophy is described here in detail in the sense that the Virat Purush, or the universal form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is the original source of all the various sense organs and their presiding deities. So whatever senses we have them. Why? Because God in his universal form has them. If he didn't have them, we wouldn't have them. So this universal form, yes, it is a material form, but it is the Lord. I'm sorry, it's not an eternal form. It's not an eternal form, but it is the Lord himself. The relationship between the Virat Purush and the presiding deities or the living entities is so intricate that simply by exercising the sense organs which are related to the presiding deities, the Virat Purush cannot be aroused. It is not possible to arouse the Virat Purush or to link with the Supreme Absolute Personality of Godhead by material activities. Only by devotional service and detachment can one perform the process of linking with the Absolute. So Krishna says that bhaktya mam abhijanati. It's only by devotional service that we can approach him, because God is spiritual. God is spiritual. So by our material mind, material intelligence, material resources, how can we approach him? It's not possible. It's not possible. And so he can be approached only through devotional service, only by hearing about him. Only when we begin devotional service by hearing about him that we can begin to understand something about him. So that's the reason they say that the infinite can be known by his grace. It's only by the grace of the infinite that he can be known. So what does that mean? It means that when we are hearing about the Lord, when we are hearing about him, then only by his grace can we be able to understand him. Because he's spiritual. He is beyond our material, what do you say? He's beyond our material reasoning, beyond our material mind, beyond our material imagination. So how can we know him? When we are engaging in devotional service, which begins by hearing. By hearing about him, we are trying to understand him. And this is how we can reunite with him, link with him. Is that all right?
Yes. Yes.
Yes. So we need his grace so that we can understand. It's that way. So then somebody will say, well, I have to wait for the grace of God. So I will sleep and one day I will get the grace of God and then I will know him. I don't have to do anything. What do you think? What do you say to that?
No, you need to have that devotional service towards him. Correct?
That's right. That's right. The man proposes, God disposes, right? We show that we are interested in understanding you, God. Oh, my dear God, I am interested to understand you. So let me begin to hear about you. And then the more we hear, the more he reveals. Yeah. Because many people say, oh, when I get, that will come to me when I get that matta, sumat, it will come, it will come. How will it come if we don't endeavor? If we do not show that we are interested, I really want to know, we show our sincerity.
So that means there has to be spiritual awakening.
There has to be a spiritual awakening. Yes, there has to be a desire to know
Desire, right?
God. Yes, who am I? And that's what Bhagavatam says, right? Bhagavatam says that human life begins with the inquiry into the absolute. Athatho Brahma Jigyasa. Let's begin into the inquiry of the absolute truth. And that's the beginning of human life. That's what Bhagavatam is saying. And so then we may say, oh, well, I don't have it. And that's the reason what the devotees do. They're trying to tell everyone about God, who are you? You're not the body, you're not the soul. So in that way, the devotees are helping us to get this spiritual awakening.
And that is the purpose of human life.
Yes, that's right. That is the purpose of human life. Yeah. Inquiry into the absolute.
Yes, absolute truth.
Yeah. Tam asmin pratyag atmanam diya yoga pravrityaya bhaktya viraktya jnanena vivicyat mani chintayet. Oh, this is a bit long, but it's the last verse. Up to y'all. You want to do it tomorrow? It's 27 already.
Maybe one para? No.
Okay.
One para.
Okay. Therefore, through devotion, detachment, and advancement in spiritual knowledge, acquired through concentrated devotional service, one should contemplate that super soul as present in this very body, although simultaneously apart from it. Okay. How can we understand the Paramatma in the heart? Devotion, detachment, and advancement in spiritual knowledge. We want knowledge. We are all searching for knowledge. But what kind of knowledge should we get? Spiritual knowledge. How? Through concentrated devotional service. And then one should contemplate that super soul. Huh? Think, remember, think about the super soul. Although simultaneously apart from it. So the Paramatma is not us. We are not the Paramatma. The Paramatma is not this material body, but he is very kindly sitting next to each and every one of us in our heart. One can realize the super soul within oneself. He is within one's body, but apart from the body or transcendental to the body. Although sitting in the same body as the individual soul, the super soul has no affection for the body, whereas the individual soul does. And Paramatma is sitting next to us, but he's not attached to this body that he is, right? Like right now, I'm inside my body, right? I'm inside my body and I'm thinking, I'm the body. This is me. Everything related to the body is mine. I need to do this. I need to do that. I'm going to enjoy like this. I'm going to enjoy like that. Why? I'm thinking I'm the body. I've forgotten I'm the soul. But Paramatma is sitting right next to me. He's not attached. He's not attached to anything. He's not attached to my body. He's not attached to anything material. Why is he sitting there? He's sitting there. He's my best friend. He knows I can't make it without him. He knows, like a small child and the father. The child is like, I don't want to be with you. They are outside in the open. But the father will still keep a watch on the child. He will not let the child go away from the sight. The child may not be able to see the father, but the father always has his eyes on the child. Why? Because out of love. Out of love. So therefore, one has to detach himself from this material body. How? By discharging devotional service. So the only way we can get detached from this material body is by devotional service. It is clearly mentioned here, bhaktya, that one has to execute devotional service to the Supreme. As it is stated in the first canto, second chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam 1-7, Vasudeve Bhagavate Bhakti Yoga Prayojitaha. When Vasudev, the all-pervading Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is served in completely pure devotion, detachment from the material world immediately begins. So Vasudev, God, he's everywhere. It's not that he is not everywhere. He's everywhere, in the sky, in the water, in everywhere. He's everywhere. Yet, he's also in Golok Vrindavan, enjoying his pastimes, right? So God is omnipresent. So why can't he be in the spiritual world also? He's there in the spiritual world. And he's unlimited, yet he has a form. And then how can we understand? When we begin devotional service. The purpose of Sankhya is to detach oneself from the material contamination. This can be achieved simply by devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So the more we hear and chant, remember, worship, the more we will be detached from the material world and we will be able to go back home, back to Godhead. Is that okay?
Yes.
So we'll stop here for today. Thank you so much for listening and enjoying it. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.